Yep.
Hello, beautiful people. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where in the world you are tuning in from. Y'all, today we are in for a treat because we are going to be talking about operating as CEO of your life. So, if you are new to my voice, if you're new to my face, I am Alente Collier, the Streamline Strategist, helping all of the professional service providers out there streamline and scale their profits and sustain their success. And y'all, I'm so excited because I have my good sis, my colleague here, Miss Ileka. And y'all, really quickly, when I found out she was an IE, I freaked out. Like I was just so excited. So I'll stop talking, y'all. Pass the mic over. Miss Ileka, please introduce yourself.
Hey, so first of all, they don't know what an IE is, right? Because only IEs know what an IE is. So we both have industrial engineering degrees, which is all about productivity, process improvement, effectiveness, and efficiency. And we have both brought those things into our businesses. So I'm Ileka Fallete. I am a body and business mindset mastery coach. So if you're new to me, let me just give you some information about who I am, right? I have I have a business where I help women work less, live more, and feel better. Right, mostly working with executives and entrepreneurs to really reclaim their time. So, what does that mean? That means overcoming the stress, overcoming all those obstacles in the mindset that are blocking you from moving forward in your business and in your body. Right, that weight that keeps coming back. The weight is not just here. The weight is also here, and
Mm.
you're finding that that is impacting you in your business too. And that's who I work with and help you overcome that. So I am so excited to be here with Alante because she is incredible.
You are incredible. Did y'all just hear her intro? What? Hello. hello, y'all. Hello. If you're tuning in
Hi.
live, comment down below #live. If you're catching this on a replay, comment down below #replay. Speaking about mindset, let's get right into it. What does being a CEO really mean, starting with the mind? What does that mean? How do you embody, think like a CEO, operate as a CEO mentally? What does that look like?
Yeah. It looks like having that clarity of mind, right? How do you operate as CEO is understanding how to lead your business and leading your business in a way that does not impact your body, your health, and
Mm,
your time so drastically, right?
yes.
So even getting into what a CEO isn't, right? what
Yes.
being the CEO of your life isn't is, working 12-hour days. Because how many entrepreneurs do we all know who, and it may be some of the folks out here who are watching, where, you thought, I'm going to start this business because I want my time back. I'm tired of asking somebody to go on vacation. I want flexibility. I want to be able to travel. I want to be able to go to my kids' events. I want
Mm,
to be able to do what I want to do and live on my own schedule and still have the income. And then and then
yeah.
they're like, I became an entrepreneur. I'm so excited. Yes, I'm about to make my own schedule. And then they're working 12-hour days and find themselves missing this event and that event of their kids. They aren't going to the soccer games anymore. And then when's the last time you traveled, right?
Mhm.
Without this thing, this, or, or traveled without this. And it's coming back and understanding that you get to run your business and you also get to live your life. And you don't have to make your business everything in your life. You get to have a business where you work a normal amount of hours. To me, normal is 20, 25, maybe 30 versus the 60 that so many. And you get to live your life, spend time with your kids, playing Uno. I always talk about Uno because that's me and my baby do, right? Me and one of my babies do. you know,
Yes.
Uno, going to events, all of that stuff, right? We get to do that. And we get
Yes.
to run our business with freedom and feel good about it, enjoying it.
Yes.
Mhm.
And what I love about what you do, hello, y'all. As you're tuning in, y'all, if you can click the link in this post and allow StreamYard to read your name, I would love to say hello to everyone commenting. But when you think about, yes, a 10, 20 hour work week, I love it. But when you think about just being a CEO, I love that you talked about having both freedoms, right? I always talk about as
Mhm.
entrepreneurs, especially we get to the point where it's a freedom crossroad. After your business is up and going, cash flows here, you're working with clients, you hit your first 10K month, 100K year. Oftentimes we think we have to choose between time freedom or financial freedom. Really, they both coexist, but in reality, they do.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of it has to come down to number one, what does your version of a CEO look like?
Yeah.
Right? Your version, Ileka, of a CEO looks different from my version.
Yeah.
I'm sure those tuning in, Deanna and Gilda, your version of a CEO looks very
Mhm.
different.
Yep.
So when you have that clear vision of what that looks like for you, what do you want your life to look like? How do you want your business to complement that lifestyle, right? All those different things, your day to day, then
Mhm.
you're able to start creating that roadmap, start reflecting that into your life, see those changes. And it reminds me, right now we're in a book club reading The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. And the bet is so good. But in that book, he talks about the fear of failure and fear of success and why we have this. And a lot of it comes down to when we're faced with things that kind of threaten who we believe ourselves to be, right? For example, for me, I was climbing that corporate ladder, and even though I wanted to reach the top of corporate, did I really see myself at that point? I didn't. So I had this fear of success. So
Mhm.
I think that when we can really start, number one, identifying ourselves as a CEO, what that looks like, then we're able to, okay, accept that and
Yeah.
then execute that into reality. I love how you put that, how you phrase that.
Exactly, because it's so true, right? What I love that you just talked about was identifying, understanding what your vision is. Where do
Yes.
you actually want to be? What do you want your life to look like? And then taking the steps to get there. Because and your life part is huge because it's going to be different from mine or his or hers or the next person, right?
Yes.
Really step into what that looks like for you. And when you do that, you get to create a path to get there. You get to create that clear path without all the obstacles that are constantly blocking the path. Because, like you said, when we were going up that ladder in corporate America, we weren't even realizing that is that the life that we want?
Yes.
Is that where I was hoping to go? You know, and if it's not, then why were we going there? Because somebody told us we were supposed to.
Mm,
That is still back there. If
mhm.
you get to be the CEO of your life and step into CEO of your business, you get to get sure you can get the advice and the coaching and everything, and then you get to decide what is right for you. You know,
Yes.
the coaching and advice is really important because that's great information and tools to make your decision.
All right now, listen. So sad. Y'all preaching Chanel, so y'all preaching too. I love Chanel. I've done exactly that, right? Yes. And you
Yes.
said something there. I want to touch on the subconscious mind as well,
Yeah.
because what we don't realize is that when we have these, I call it limiting beliefs of,
Mhm.
okay, this is who I aspire to be, but deep down inside, I don't think I can live up to that. I don't think I can do that. Then subconsciously, we don't realize it becomes very detrimental
Mhm.
to just our day-to-day actions that we're doing,
Yes.
how we're thinking, what we're consuming, what we're taking in, how we're making decisions. Like it affects everything. And it all starts with our crown. It all starts right here.
Yeah.
What what has been some of your favorite breakthroughs that you've seen either in your personal life or in clients, that you've seen to help people really understand that once they're operating as a CEO of their life, everything else comes into alignment and results in that dream life that we're all after?
Yes. Well, you know what? So even just as we're talking about that, so I had a client named Eva, and one of the things with Eva was she was a coach, right? Helping
Mhm.
women just change their lives through reduce chronic pain, um, release diabetes, high blood pressure, all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And she was a coach, and she had a business where she was doing that, and so she was working insane hours. And she was doing all the things in her business, the landing pages, the social media posting, the YouTube video editing, like you name it, she was doing it, responding back to everybody's DMs and voicemails, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And she had that mindset of, if I'm going to make more money and grow in this business, I've got to work more. I've got to be working around the clock. And she also had a bit of that self doubt where it was like, well, nobody's really going to pay me a lot for my services because I'm not a doctor or
Mm,
a massive YouTube influencer. Or so she thought that she had that limiting belief that in order to really grow, you've got to be doing all those things.
yeah.
So when I met her, I actually met her on Clubhouse, and and she was talking about yeah, and she was talking about just giving a lot of great information, great value, great knowledge. And when we after the room, I thought let me reach out to her because I loved all the information she had. So we connected afterwards, and the first thing I asked her was, "Wow, what are you doing on Clubhouse? Like, what are you on there for?" Because I just wanted to know. Like, I wanted to know what she was doing there, right? It's like, is it to make an impact? And like, where is it going? And
Yeah.
she's like, yeah, I want to make an impact, but I also want to get more clients. And I was like, oh shoot, well, how many clients have you gotten off of Clubhouse? Because I saw her in rooms all the time. And
Yeah.
she's like, well, none yet. And I was like, okay, so what is it that you want to do? Like, what's your true vision? She wanted to speak on stages and be a digital nomad. And I was
Mm,
like, well, are you doing that now? And she's like, well, no. She was making about $1,500 a month at the time.
mm.
And she was working about 12 hours a day because of that
Wow.
belief. In order to get this income up, I've got to be working more.
Yeah.
And so when we started working together, what we did was I helped her to see that she gets to let go of that limiting belief that you got to be a doctor, a influencer, and all these things, and replace that belief with owning her own power, owning her greatness, and understanding that she's way more knowledgeable than so many people in this space. And
Power.
so once we got there, we also aligned everything she did to her vision, because that's where the breakthrough lies.
Yes.
Why are we doing, if Clubhouse isn't aligning with your vision, why are you on Clubhouse? Just because
Yes.
Susie's on Clubhouse doesn't mean you need to be on Clubhouse. And so once we did that, her business completely changed. So in 60 days, she went from 1,500 a month to $5,000 a month. And
Yeah.
then she went from that 84 hours a week, which is 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, to about 4 hours a day, 5 days a week. So
Yeah.
roughly about 20, 25 hours a week. And her life was changed. She started speaking on stages across the country and feeling so much better. So I'm like, that's the breakthrough. Whether you have her story looking to, increase your income, and maybe you're already making 10, $15,000 a month,
Yeah.
or 20 or 30, right? And at the same time, you're working insane hours. You're not being the CEO of your life.
Mm.
Maybe being the CEO of your company, but are you even if you're working 12 and 14-hour days? Because I don't know CEOs. In my mind, Jeff Bezos is not working 12 hours a day. I don't know Jeff, but
Yeah.
my assumption is that's not his situation. So why do you think that you need to, not you, Alonzo, but why do people think that they need to work? Entrepreneurs think that they need to work these insane hours in order to make great money. When you're the CEO of your life, you
Yes.
know where to hire, where to bring people in, how to truly create the business and create the relationships that you need to truly be the CEO. So that's one of the biggest breakthroughs here. Yes.
Mic drop. Mic drop. I want to
Tell
read.
me, tell me one of yours, one of the breakthroughs that you've seen.
Yes. 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 I read some of these, and absolutely. Someone said, I'm living what I envision, what I dream. It's amazing to be at that level in my life, but I'm ready to go even bigger.
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes. Oh my gosh, it's wonderful and amazing. I really needed everything. Yes, 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 yes. Amazing.
Mhm.
So, in that same fashion, this reminds me of a client, Italia. Shout out to Italia if you're tuning
Yeah.
in. Hello, Queen.
Awesome.
Um, but when we first started working together, she was already in business for about 3 or so years, right?
Mhm.
She just had a baby. She was ready to get back into business, back into that CEO role. But
Mhm.
first, it was a whole mindset thing. How do you run a business and run a household at the same time, be a boss babe or whatever you want to call it these modern times, and still, have enough time for yourself, right? So a lot of it was restructuring the business model to complement her lifestyle. The time she had back then was not the time she had now as a newborn. Right? So
Oh, I know it.
right. And I don't have kids yet, but now, like in working with moms and things like that, like now it's preparing me to, be in that position to give that time. But what we did was we restructured her business model to the point where back then she was working with corporate, charging way below her
Mhm.
value, her worth. And
We've
so
all been there.
first revamped her offers, and then we upgraded the kind of people she was targeting. Of course, raised her rates from, I think she was charging 3 digits to we charge anywhere from 4 to 5 figures working with those clients. When
Mhm.
you're working at that level, you get your time back. You can work with less people, bring in more revenue. You have low overhead, high profit, reinvest that into the business, hire the support. Soon enough, all you have to do is just show up on camera, do your thing, and then let your team handle the rest.
Mhm.
So what we did was we immediately after transforming that business model, probably about 6 weeks later or so, she had her first 5K. And then
Mhm.
she took that knowledge and she started building out all these different systems. She didn't know anything about landing pages, about funnels, about marketing, none of that, right? So
Yeah.
we learned how to do those different things. And so now just seeing her in this space is the ripple effect. Her clients have gone off to 5x their investment, freeing from the 9 to 5, working full time in what they've been called to do.
Yeah.
Now it's amazing just seeing the education, right?
Mhm.
Understanding what being a CEO means for your business. Then bring that same knowledge, that same tools, right? That same skill set to your community,
Right.
educating them. I'm all about closing the global wealth gap, but a lot of it
Mhm.
has to do with the mind. A lot of it has to do with making sure you have enough time to pour back into you, recharge yourself, making sure you're optimal so you can then serve your audience. So
Exactly.
that's one of my favorite stories.
Oh, I love that because it definitely is a game changer when your life transitions. You
Yes.
know, having all of a sudden you were just killing it as an entrepreneur, and then all of a sudden this little person, this little baby, or even a new relationship, husband, whatever comes in, and it's like this now changes. These
Yeah.
12-hour days are no longer gonna gonna fly because somebody's gonna be tapping you on the shoulder. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just reality. And so what happens in the business? How do you transition when that happens in your life? When you have those shifts in life, you get to shift here, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Like, and I loved how you talked about the fuel because when you fuel yourself appropriately, when you fuel yourself in the right way, it's more clarity, right? You can actually
Absolutely.
where you want to go, you're more productive, and you just feel better.
Yes. 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 Oh my God. I want to read some of these. Yes. Unlocking new levels in your life.
Mhm,
So now let's kind of pivot into how can you start cutting your work days in half? What does that
mhm,
look like based off of the work that you do
mhm.
with your clients? How do you help them cut their work days in half?
Yeah.
Being the body and business mindset coach that you are.
Yes. So what's so funny is we start off with that fuel, right?
Yeah.
I call it fuel to be an accelerator. And there's three pillars in that fuel, right? There's nutrition. So it comes down to nourishing your body in the right way,
Yeah.
removing the processed foods, removing those things. Because what processed foods do is they cause brain fog. You're tired. They bring you down. Have you noticed that, when you go out for pizza, let's say, when someone goes out for pizza, all of a sudden, immediately after eating, you're tired. You're like, oh,
Mhm.
I just need to go home. Sluggish, all the things, because the body's like, what the heck did you just give me? Like, I don't want this. Get it out, right? And so it's working to process that, and that slows you down. So it's nourishing the right way with
Mhm.
foods that are going to give you energy as opposed to making you slower, right? Then it comes down to movement, right? So it's moving the body because when you don't move it, you lose it, right? Use it or lose it, right? That's what we always heard, use it or lose it, right? It's
Yeah.
like you stop riding a bike. Now it takes you a few minutes to try and get back on that bike.
Yeah.
And many people are noticing that when you go to stand up, you've been sitting on the computer for forever, right? For 5, 6 hours, not even getting up to go to the bathroom, right?
Yeah.
That was definitely me when I was a few years ago before I had the shift.
Yeah.
I'd be sitting there for hours. You get up and now your knees are cracking. What is going on? Where is this noise coming from? Right? and
Uh,
it's all of those things. So it's important to get up and move, like
yeah.
move doing I always say one thing, what the tip I always give is every hour, get up and either like walk around your house, even if it's walking around your kitchen table 10 times.
Mhm.
They're outside. I know. I'm sure everybody can hear them. Every video I have, every time I go live, anytime I have a YouTube video, you hear that background. And then I'm just like,
Real
you know
life.
what? It's their house. You know?
Yeah, real life. We love to see it. I love it.
Somebody's gonna walk in a second, I'm confident. But but yeah, we've got to move our body. So every hour, even if it's like getting up and doing 10 squats and then sitting back down, you
Mm,
know, because the body gets to move. And
yes.
then the third thing is self-care. Like working less while generating more, living better, feeling better.
Yeah.
All of that comes down to like you self-care is so important.
Yes.
And one of my favorite things when we talk about self-care is understanding, like we talked about in the beginning, that your vision and my vision may not be the same.
Hmm.
Your self-care for you may not be what self-care for me. And
Yeah.
that's something that folks, what self-care is the things that fill your cup.
Come on now.
We always think self-care, oh, let me go for a massage because somebody told me one day that that getting a massage is self-care, so that's what I'm doing. And then you leave the massage and you're still tired, you still, it
Hmm.
still doesn't feel all the way in.
Hmm.
I realized for me, and this is crazy to some, but for me, self-care is sitting and watching my kids just laugh and talk and be funny, like be so silly. Playing Uno together as a family, going putt putt golfing or something like that. That fills my cup. After that, I can be doing anything, you
Yeah.
know. And so that is so important. Like looking at what actually fills your cup. I still have to get massages every 2 weeks because I do work out like a mad person. Sometimes I do work out a lot. And I lift pretty heavy, so I do get massages, but I realize that's not necessarily. I mean, it's a part of my self care, but that's not what fills my cup. What fills my cup is them, and so
Yeah.
that's self care, and that's just one of the things of work, because when you're more productive, you get to do more in less time. Industrial engineering, productivity improvement.
Come on. You know what to say. Come on.
You can't help it, right? And so it's
Yes.
so important.
I love this. I love if y'all didn't get those three pillars, write this down, okay? Nutrition, number
Yeah.
one. Number two, move the body. Number three, self-care. These are key. These are critical in how you start cutting your work days in half. I love it.
Yes. 100%, 100%. And it's so funny because we do look at that. We're sitting there like, why am I working so much? And what happens is as we go longer into the day, like some people are working, 10, 11 p.m. still on their computer. Maybe you took a break to
Mhm.
make dinner or whatever, and then you come back to it. What we realize is that those hours in the evening, you're extra tired. Even if you have all the coffee in the world, you're extra tired. When
Yeah.
you're tired, your productivity is way less. So
Mhm.
now it's taking you 3 hours for 15 minutes of work. you know?
Yes. I
And
love
it's like, I mean, is that helpful?
yeah.
Or you could do it in the morning, or that time for me, my most productive time is 10 to about 3,
Yeah.
10 p.m. to 3 p.m. If I do things during that time, I'm almost 100% productivity.
Yes.
It's going to take me 15 minutes to do 15 minutes of work. You
Yes.
do it at 10 p.m., that's 3 hours for the 15 minutes,
Yes.
I
Yes.
mean, that's how you're cutting your day in half.
Someone said truth. I don't take calls when I know I'm low on energy. I love that.
Yes.
That's awareness. I love
Mhm.
that because when you're aware of certain parts of the day, when you're higher on energy, what works for you, what doesn't work for you, it creates
Mhm.
the roadmap itself. And speaking from an operational standpoint, when it comes to businesses, right? A
Yes.
lot of business owners, I'm doing these audits right now for Q3. A lot of business owners don't even know where their time is going to. So,
Mhm.
one of the things I always like to do is let's just track your time for a week and let's just see where's your time going throughout the day,
Mhm.
throughout the week. Do you even know? Then they
Yeah.
soon find out maybe 40% is going to emails, 30% client fulfillment, the different things here and there.
Yeah.
But it's like once you have that awareness of number one, where your time is going, now let's see, is this even serving you or your business at all? Is it just a distraction? Is it waste? Is it doing anything for your business? Can it be automated, eliminated, delegated, right?
Yes,
Um,
exactly.
but awareness is everything. And a lot of it has to do with, again, what does that version of a CEO look like for y'all?
Mhm.
And y'all, if you're tuning in, if you have any questions down below, definitely comment down below. But I have a question for y'all while I'm going through this. What does your version of a time rich CEO look like for you specifically? Put that in the chat box and
Yes.
also listen this out. But three things that we do to help our clients cut their workdays in half is after we figure out the awareness part, they know, we all know what's going on.
Hmm.
Now let's create that perfect business model, right? Again, what's working for me may not work for someone else.
Hmm.
Someone may want to spend 20% in client fulfillment, 80%, marketing is different for everybody.
Exactly.
Figure out that business model, right? Do you want a hybrid program? Do you want to work one-on-one? Do you want to work one to many? It's
Yeah.
so many different business models you can tailor specifically to your dream lifestyle, that there's
Exactly.
no cookie cutter way of doing that. So that's
Hmm.
phase one. We have three different phases.
Yep.
Phase two, then we look into the back end operations. How are
Hmm.
you managing the client experience? How are you managing projects? How are you managing your team, right? Do you
Yes.
have predictability in your revenue? All these different things. When you
Hmm.
have a seamless back end operation, that's how you can keep the needle moving in your business, stay in your zone of genius, and keep
Exactly.
scaling your profits. The last phase we focus on is that virtual support team, right?
Mhm.
Number one, do you have a low overhead, high profit margin? Are you
Yep.
happy with your profit margin? Do you want to increase your take home profits,
Mhm.
right? So once you have that awareness, you have that perfect business model, you have that seamless back-end operation and that virtual support team, you're a
Right.
top CEO. You can do whatever you want to do. Get the vision, tell your team what's going on, they run with
Hmm.
it. You get your time back. Focus on you.
Exactly. It's like it's that, and that's exactly what it's all about.
Yeah.
Getting that time back, focusing on the things that you started your business for in the first place. You
Yes.
know, and
Yes.
because to that point, so many you find, as an entrepreneur that I like to talk about this in my challenge all the time because this is one of my favorite topics to talk about. I talk about loving what you do and doing what you love.
Mhm.
So you're like, oh, I want to help. I want to make an impact on the world. I want to coach people to transform their lives in this way or transform their businesses in this way or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And so you get in there to do that. And that would be, coaching. Maybe you're doing group coaching or one-on-one, or you're setting up the back office and all the things that you enjoy.
Yeah.
And but now you find yourself 80% of what you do are those things you didn't want to do in the first place.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like you're all of a sudden pointing and posting on social media when that's not what you were hoping to do, right?
Yeah.
Or you're doing all the things, and the client fulfillment, which was the thing that you loved, is
Yeah.
the thing you're not doing as much. So
Yeah.
I'm huge on that, on outsourcing or bulking. Just I'm like outsource or bulk. So
Yeah.
we're looking at the outsourcing is what list those things. Go through that audit that you go through and identify what are the things that you do not enjoy in your business. Like what are the things that you have to do because you've already aligned every step to your vision, right? That's the first part. Step.
Mhm.
We already talked about that. But now all those things that you have to do for your business,
Yeah.
look at those things that are not your zone of genius, or maybe
Mhm.
they are, but they're not the things that help to fill your cup, that make you want to oh, let me work today, let me hop into my business today,
Yeah.
right? And when you look at those things and then the things that you really love, then now once you separate that list, look at the things that you don't enjoy and what can I outsource, what can I bulk, and then the things that you love doing, you get to do that more. Because when you outsource or bulk this stuff, you have more time back to do this stuff. Now you're able to bring in more clients, more of
Yeah.
your ideal clients, and grow in that space. But
Yeah.
when you're here 80% of the time, because it's stuff that you don't enjoy, it takes longer. Especially
Mhm.
right? It takes way longer to do that stuff because it's not something that you enjoy. Many times you end up doing it during your least productive time. So that
Yeah.
10 p.m. time, now you're responding to emails or whatever it is, right? In your business, you're doing that part, and you set the things that you love during your most productive times. So
Yes.
so now at noon, that's when you're doing your coaching calls. You love coaching. So
Yeah.
why are you doing that at noon when you're when you're super productive? You might as well do that thing that you couldn't stand when you were
Oh,
super productive. And,
okay.
and then, then at 4 p.m. when you might feel a little tired, that's when you do your coaching call. Why?
Mhm.
Because if coaching is what you love, all of a sudden it all comes. Like I know this for me and my clients as well. When you're coaching and that's your zone of genius, all of
Mhm.
a sudden you get vibrant for it. Like I
Yeah.
remember even when I had COVID the second time and I was feeling really sick, I
Mhm.
tried to go live one time because I just didn't want to feel sick anymore. And
Mm.
so I went live and I piped up. I'm like, where'd this
I
energy
know
come
it.
from? I've been sitting down for the last week. All of a sudden, I got this energy. And it's because when you get to do those things in your zone of genius that you love and you get to spend time doing that,
Yes.
then you actually are able to be more productive in that time. And that can be during your least productive times. That's why you
Yes.
put that stuff there. You know,
Yes.
as you're mapping out the day, it becomes so important. Mhm.
We're in the season of falling back in love with your business. I
Yes.
feel like it's so funny because 2 years ago there was this birth and this boom of businesses out of nowhere, and I really feel
Mhm.
like 2 years later we're about to see the same thing again, just on a bigger, grand scheme of things.
Mhm.
And so, if anything, just enjoy what you're doing. If you're not having fun in your business, you're not laughing, that
Right.
fire inside is not burning, you're not loving what you're doing, then stop. First of all, stop doing the things you don't want to do. And
Yes.
focus on the things that actually brought you results, brought you clients, brought you cash
Mhm.
flow. Let's stick to those. Like, when it comes to marketing and sales, I feel like are one of the two biggest things, biggest reasons why people run out of business, their business crashes and burns. And it's also too
Mhm.
why a lot of businesses over the 5 year point, I think over 90% end up failing because they run out of leads in the pipeline, they run out of cash flow. When you
Mhm.
look at why that is, let's look at how you're marketing. You're marketing in a way that you don't even want to market.
Mhm.
You feel icky every time. You feel like you have to show up, right?
Yep.
That's when you
Mhm.
have that energy. Energy is so contagious that your
100%.
energy can be felt. It doesn't matter if you're in person or not. It doesn't even matter where they can see
Mhm.
you.
Yep.
That energy can be felt through a conversation, through a DM, through a
Mhm.
content post.
Yes.
It's so vital to one, be in divine alignment, love what you're doing, love the business you have, and
Mhm.
operate in a way that makes you feel good, right? That's what it's
Exactly.
all about.
Yep. And that's exactly it. I love how you said back to falling in love with your business because that is the key, right? Because when you get to love what you do and do what you love, then you get to live your life in a way that it's almost sometimes it's beyond the vision that you created. Because
Mhm.
there's so many people who still have that concept, that limiting belief that there's no way I'm gonna love anything that I do.
Yeah.
You know, I have a
Yeah.
friend. I have a friend who told me the other day. He's like, yeah, I mean, I like. He's like, I love. He's like, I like my job. And he's like, I mean, for a job, And I was like,
Read in between the lines. Yes.
right. And he has his own company, so it was just like he liked. He's like, I like what I do
Yeah.
for work, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like, I don't want to say, I don't want to live in that world again where, I mean, I guess I kind of like it, but I'm really good at it, right? Like, I don't want that to be,
Mm.
do you want that to be your story or do you want to get back to loving what you do,
Yes.
and really enjoying it to the point where it doesn't even feel like work?
Yes.
Because,
Oh my God. We could talk all day about this. This is so it's so good. But y'all, again, if you have any questions, definitely comment down below. I'm still waiting for y'all to tell me what does your version of a time-rich CEO look like, y'all. Comment that down below. But to bring this all home, let's talk about the holistic well-being, right? How to enhance that from the mind, the body, the spirit, how it's all interconnected.
100%.
What's your thoughts on that? Your standpoint on that?
Yeah. So, what's so funny is I was actually just on a call before this when we were talking about that exact same thing.
Mhm.
Um, and it goes into like, quickly into my story. So, 6 years ago, I was about 340, 50 pounds. I don't know exact number.
Wow.
And, I lost I lost 120, 30. I don't know exactly how much I lost either, but it was over 120 pounds. And as I did that, I did it through healthy eating,
Mhm.
exercise, mindset shifts.
Yes.
And then I started coaching people like, "Ooh, let me help you lose weight. Let me help you." So that was my first business. And
Mm,
as I was helping people lose weight, what started to happen is once they stopped working with me, they began to gain the weight back.
mm,
And I was like, "No, we've got to. Why is that happening?" I needed to understand. And
yeah.
so what I did was that's when I started incorporating mindset. I was already doing things like what's your why, what's your triggers, what's your vision, but there was something else to it. And so I got certified in NLP. I dug deep to get like I needed to get that connection myself. I did some spiritual healings. Like I really needed to understand because I needed to give that to people because I couldn't take I thought I was feeling like a failure, that belief, oh my goodness, they didn't keep the weight off, so I did something wrong.
Yeah.
So I was like, I need to step into this. So
Yeah.
I became a certified mindset coach and really started doing that type of work. And I began doing it like contracting under other coaches to really build my skill, right?
Yeah.
And so what I started seeing was it was the mindset that was holding those women back when it came to
Mm,
improving their health. And then at the same time, I'd already doing some business consulting and business coaching because I couldn't help myself. I'd been in corporate America for years, and I kind of missed that piece of it. I
yeah.
missed that industrial engineering. I had been helping the women who were in my weight loss program. I've
Yeah.
been giving them tips, strategies, and things to grow their businesses. And
Mm,
one woman went from being a a social worker to a director of a hospital during the time we worked together. And right, it was just these
yes.
women were just growing. And
Right.
I had clients who went from, "Ooh, maybe I want to sell this," to like building a whole Etsy company, right? So it's like
Wow.
we get to do all that. But what I was seeing was that in both my business coaching side and my weight loss coaching side, the thing that was holding both groups back was the mindset because
Yes.
it all connects. Those same things that are stopping consistent, keeping the weight off was also
Mhm.
impacting the business growth, hey, baby. And so that I told somebody to come in. And it was impacting both because these
Yeah.
things go together. And the spiritual piece, that has to be a part of it.
Absolutely.
If you don't have, whether you're a Christian or, whatever it is that you believe, something is guiding you. And you've got to have that connection in order to
Mhm.
truly even see what it is that's blocking you,
Yes.
because there's
Yes.
something that's blocking and it needs to be connected. And that for
Mhm.
me is everything is understanding what it is and really getting underneath it so you get to clear it and now you hop through it, it
I love
becomes
your yes. I love your approach. And someone here said, get back to loving what you do to the point where it won't feel like work.
yes.
Yes. Yes, yes. There's a question here, but before I lose my train of thought, I love your approach of how before we can even take care of the business, let's take care of the person, the CEO, right? Because your business is a reflection of you. So if
Mhm.
your home's not together, it's almost impossible for your business to be together, right?
100%. Hmm.
It's like that's how we kind of do things as well. Like, let's take care of the CEO. Let's make sure you're actually operating in divine alignment
Yes.
first, because then that will set such a concrete foundation
Hmm.
for a successful, sustainable, sellable business, right? And
Exactly.
when you do it that way, that's how you have that sustainability. That's how
Hmm.
we call it famine proof. That's how your business and you are unaffected by the next economic, environmental disaster. It all comes
100%.
down to take care of. Oh, this is so good! So
Love it.
good!
It's so
So
true.
good. There's a question here from Asif. What advice would you give others starting out? Good question.
Mhm. Yeah. So starting out your business. Yeah. Oh wait.
Is it
Okay. Go again. Yep. So what advice would you give others starting out their business? So when you're looking to start your business, the first thing I always say is, what in the world are you trying to impact or improve or transform?
yeah.
Right? Like, so getting an idea of what problem are you trying to solve. Once you have an
Mhm.
idea of what problem you're trying to solve, now you get to have an idea of who is that problem for. So who is that ideal client that has that problem that needs to be solved? And
Yes.
then you get to create that business based on that need.
Mhm.
And if I was to start my business right now, then I would begin with things like the bulking and the outsourcing and spaces where you can, so that you get to still have your life and you get to build your business. Because
Yeah,
there's so many ways to build at this point, even when you're just starting, right?
absolutely.
I would also invest in that growth. Like, have an idea of where you want to go and invest, because many times when you invest in either a coach or invest in operations, or that start off piece, what happens is, I'm big on speed. Like, I
Mhm.
like to take action. I like to make things happen. And my
Absolutely.
clients like to take action and make things happen, right? So what would take you 5 years to do, you get to do it in 2 months, because someone is giving you the guide. They've given you they've given you the whole trail to get there.
Mhm.
Whereas when you're doing it alone and you don't know how to do it, there's all these, like, if this is the trail, there's all these little, oh, I gotta go here. Oops, I messed up. Let me come back. Gotta go
Mhm.
here. Let me try this. Nope. You have the trail, the whole trail to get you there. And when you have that, it's just speed and solution at that point. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. Um, if I could give any advice,
Yeah.
it would be stick to the principles, right? We look for copy paste solutions. We look for different blueprints that don't really exist, because a lot of us are doing something for the first time that has never been done. So we are creating the blueprint. So when you identify and stick to the principles that match up the core values of what you stand for,
Mhm.
then you can create your own blueprint that you can
Yeah.
then fall back on, that can be fail proof. For
Mhm.
me, I always talk about having offer clarity. There's 3 steps to have offer clarity. You have to be clear, number one, your natural gifts and abilities. Number
Mhm.
two, who will best benefit from your natural gifts and abilities. Three, what is that offer that you can best package, position, and present to the
Yeah.
marketplace to deliver on that transformation based off the natural gifts and abilities that you have? When you have that clarity, along with that awareness, along with that vision, right? The vision, make it plain. Take off, invest in that coach, and take off, because it's literally what we've done. I
Mhm.
think if we had a cheat code to anything, is investing in that support. I don't think either
Mhm.
one of us are scared to invest. And that literally has shortened that journey. I can't even, like, y'all,
Mhm.
hands down. Invest,
I'm telling you.
invest,
Yeah.
and have a vision.
Yep. Absolutely. Because I will say this. I always say, and I was talking to a client about this earlier, that I wish I had invested earlier. So I started my business in 2017, and the
Mhm,
first time I invested was, I think it was the end of 2018.
mhm,
So it took me, a while to get to that point of investment. Moment I invested, within like 30, 60 days, my business, I think it was tripled, you
mm,
know, because there were just things I didn't know. And
mhm.
I was a whole, like, business consultant,
Right,
executive coach in corporate America. But
yeah,
entrepreneurship is different. Like, that's a different world, because
yeah,
even as an executive coach and or a business consultant, you don't play all the different roles and understand necessarily all the different roles, from marketing, sales, to and how things have changed and consistently changed in that realm, right? To
absolutely.
mindset and beliefs, and where you are from there, because we didn't talk about that in executive coaching in corporate America. That was not the conversation. So it's all
Mhm.
of those things that get to come together, and even how to start a business,
Yeah,
LLC, taxes, how do you set that up? Like, those were not things that I knew,
yeah,
and I was trying to YouTube and find stuff out. I was so glad when I finally invested and got over that whole let me find it on YouTube, because how many hours and days, weeks, months you're spending, trying to YouTube everything.
yeah,
And I always look at it as, and you're going to be with me on this, opportunity cost. right?
All right.
That's that industrial engineering background. The
Yeah.
opportunity cost that's missed, right? So it's that missed revenue from doing the YouTube, YouTube university is what they call it, right? YouTube university to try and figure out how to do things when
Mhm.
you invest in a coach and now that revenue starts coming. You start to make your investment back almost immediately. Like that is how that works versus YouTubing forever. And now it's taking a really long time to get to where you want to go. And then you still have to invest to get over even that hump, right?
Mhm.
Because there's so many entrepreneurs that are doing amazingly and they know they could be on a whole nother level
Yes.
if they just invest. Yeah.
There it is. Nothing else to be said. She said it. There it is. I love it. I love it, y'all. Again, y'all, we're getting ready to close on out. So if you have any questions, any comments, y'all, go ahead and comment down below. We'll read them. But as we get ready to close on out, where can we find you? What do you have going on? How can we work and partner with Miss Ileka?
Yes. So you can always reach out to me at ilekafallete.com or always go to ilekafallete.com. And that is where you'll see like my Striving to Thriving challenge, where in 5 days, I help you work less, live more, feel better while generating more revenue. So essentially cutting your workday in half and feeling like the boss that you are, because you get to be the CEO of your life. And then you can always also DM me on Facebook or Instagram. Those are really easy ways to connect with me immediately, right? But my next challenge is actually this month. September 19th is my next challenge. So I'll be hosting a from Striving to Thriving in 5 days, and really about going from striving to thriving in your business, your body, and your relationships, so you get to be the CEO of your life.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. I love
Mhm.
it. I love it.
Yeah.
Y'all be sure. I'll post a link in the comments inside the group. Y'all be sure to follow up, connect with Ileka if you haven't. Thank you, Queen, for your time today, for sharing your gems, your experience, your knowledge. It's been a pleasure. Y'all, we just met probably like 3 weeks ago, and I feel like I've known you for so long.
I
Like
know, same. Same thing.
this has been so good.
Yes, it
But that's
really has. Go ahead.
It has. We have a couple more comments here. Nice starting mindset. Beautiful.
Yes.
Want to make sure I get everyone. Awesome, y'all. All right. So to close on out, if you haven't heard, we are again offering complimentary operations audits for the remainder of Q3. I believe we have 3 more days left this month. So if you are interested, if you just want to know where currently your operations stand, maybe identify some profit leaks that could be going unnoticed, right? Want to get a handle on, go ahead and comment down below the word audit or reach out to you. Make sure we get you on that calendar. Thank y'all for tuning in live, catching the replay. It has been such a pleasure again, Ms. Ileka. I'm sure we'll see you again inside the group as well, y'all. But y'all have a great rest of your Wednesday, your weekend, and we'll chat soon.
Right. Talk to you later.